Welcome back to It Resolves, where we play a new deck every single day. Today's deck is Mono Red Aggro. Welcome back, everybody, to another Dominaria United standard gameplay video. We're jumping into a basic one. We're talking Mono Red Aggro today. This list is brought to you actually by TCG Player. There is an article that we've actually, I know John has also done this. He's also been making some tweaks to the list, as have I. This is one that I have not, but basically we're pulling a bunch of different deck ideas from that article and then maybe changing them up as we go. This one is the stock list. This is just basic Mono Red Aggro, but I did think, hey, you know, a lot of times people jump into a new format and don't really know where to start, and the most common advice that gets told to most people when they're starting is start with Mono Red Aggro, because the play patterns aren't necessarily as complicated if you're just kind of learning, and generally they're a little bit more budget friendly. While I have some arguments against the budget friendliness of this particular deck, I do think that the play patterns are interesting, and the goal is quite simple. It's just to get max damage as quickly as possible, hopefully win in the first handful of turns, and if you don't, you're going to have a harder time. Now, there are some pieces to this that complicate that process a little bit and make it a little bit easier to have a long-term game, but we'll talk about that as we go through. As you can tell, the mana curve tops out at 3. And so we are actually only running 20 lands. We've got one Crucible, and then the rest are just mountains. Very straightforward. Turn 1 plays. The best possible turn 1 play is probably the etching here, because 1, it deals a little bit of damage right off the bat, 2, it strengthens up your turn 2 play, and then on turn 3 you get an extra creature that you had already paid for 1 mana. And so this is actually a really good card in Mono Red aggro decks. You see it very commonly, basically everywhere. Other really good cards though, Falkenrath Pit Fighter works really nicely as a 2/1 for 1, so value is there. But you could also utilize the ability later on if you just happen to find yourself like really burnt out. If the Pit Fighter itself can't attack in, it's okay. We can sacrifice a vampire, discard a card, and then draw 2 cards. So if you draw a mountain, you can use that to hopefully get further into your deck. We do also have Voldaren Epicure as well, which is a vampire, so works extraordinarily well with this. Deals 1 damage to an opponent and creates a blood token, again, giving you that draw pattern later on. Play with Fire is also our 1 mana burn spell of choice. It hits anything, and it can scry, which does help quite a bit. One of the new cards, though, from Dominaria United that I think really does put Mono Red Aggro higher up on the tier list is Hammerhand. 1 mana enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, target creature can't block this turn. That's huge, truthfully, because there's a lot of really big creatures that will 100% outpower this deck. If you make it so they can't block for a turn, you actually do have a very real possibility of finishing the game that turn. It does also allow you to get in with a creature, giving it +1/+1 and haste, which is obviously very crucial for the deck. Another new card here is Radha's Firebrand. It is a 3/1 for 2. When it attacks, target creature defending player controls with power less than Radha Firebrand's power can't block this turn. Again, really shutting down a lot of the blocking options for the decks that we hopefully are going to be facing. Does have domain, so for 5 and a red, it gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. The ability costs 1 less to activate for each basic land type among lands you control. Obviously, that's only ever going to be 1, but it does cheapen it up, and it gives us a mana sink later on, which is really nice. You can only do that once each turn, of course. Lightning Strike is also back in standard. Phenomenal burn spell. Definitely going to be seeing its way into most decks that are running red, I would imagine. At least in some like controlling or interactive capacity. So very good there. Bloodthirsty Adversary, obviously one of the best turn 2s in the deck. Gets in there immediately, and especially if we've gotten the etching down, it does come in with that 1/1 counter, so you can hit for 3, excuse me. And then, of course, we've got Reckless Stormseeker, a phenomenal card that we've seen for quite a while, and then Chandra Dressed to Kill at the top end. Again, giving us a little bit of extra draws, and then, of course, just kind of ramping and dealing some damage. So Pretty straightforward list, guys. I know a lot of people don't like mono red, so if you are one of those people, it's fine. But I did want to get this out at least, you know, during week 1 of the new format, just so we had a nice little starting place. If you happen to be a mono red player, this is for you. We're gonna try this one out. We're gonna hopefully have some fun, maybe get some wins. We hopefully will get some quick games in, so we might get a couple extra. Let's go ahead and do it, guys. Let's see what we can do. All right, guys, and here we are for game number 1. This is actually a phenomenal start. We've got the etching into Voldaren Epicure plus Hammerhand, and then, of course, some interaction and a Stormseeker to get to. So this is about as perfect as we could hope for. Certainly would love to get a Bloodthirsty Adversary or something else in, but this is representing quite a bit of damage, and I think the play pattern of this deck is really interesting with that Hammerhand. I don't want to overstate the importance of kind of a basic little enchant creature here, but it's reminiscent. If anybody played during Return to Ravnica, if anybody played during that time, you may have noticed there was a Rakdos deck that came out that was very focused on some really interesting cards like Madcap skills. It feels very reminiscent of that. Which I think is really cool, honestly. Like, I'm not a big mono red player, but it's one of those things, and I think this is the important thing about it resolves. It's one of those decks that I feel is really important to at least try, because you never know what you're gonna find. I think it's always worth an effort, and it's just kind of fun to try new stuff, you know? We'll go ahead. I'm actually going to go for this. This is a bit of an aggressive play for sure, but this does allow us to get in, and I mean, think about that. Turn 2, and they are down by 5. We have gotten a quarter of their life total out of there. That's pretty good. And we do have some other options for us here with the play with fire. Excellent. I'm just gonna play the Reckless Stormseeker. We're gonna give it haste, and we're gonna attack in. Turn 3, they are down to 7. I mean, again, guys, this is kind of the craziness about this deck, and especially with that Hammerhand. There we go. Turn 3, and we immediately won. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Let's jump into game 2. This month's Patreon rewards feature some of the most impactful Lotuses in Magic's history. Check out all the details and sign up at patreon.com/itresolves. All right, guys, here we are for game number 2. Definitely a less explosive start here, but I think we can reasonably keep it. Any hand where you're going to be able to curve out, as this one will, I think is worth at least giving a shot to. I don't think you want to mulligan too often with this deck. While you will often find plays that you can get to pretty easily mulliganing, I do think it's a matter of just kind of curving out reasonably and making sure that you've got stuff to do. Drawing 3 Chandras is a little less than ideal. But that's okay. We will see what we can do. Opponent did actually gain a life off of the caves here. Interesting that they're playing these lands. I'm wondering if maybe this is a budget option, which we should be able to kind of overly take advantage of, but we'll see. Next turn, we do have either Stormseeker or Chandra coming down, both of which are phenomenal options, so we should be able to hopefully really do some damage, but we'll see. Opponent might just be passing here, which is interesting. Oh, okay, Founding of the Third Path, phenomenal card. We've actually played with this card a little bit. They are going to Tainted Indulgence, discarding a Titan. All right, so we are against Reanimator 100%. Let's see, the goal is what? To just get him down as low as we can? I think that's basically it. And so we're just gonna go this route. I'm assuming that they're gonna have a cut down. Yep, perfectly fine. Did 100% expect that, so that's no surprise. I'm curious if they can reanimate this turn. I feel like probably not, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Another caves, that's fine. So maybe they're actually just playing the lands this way so they can get, because they are kind of a longer term deck, if that makes sense. All right, let's do this. Curious to see if they have a counter spell. It looks like no. I am just gonna preemptively go for this. And we're gonna play the etching to go ahead and get a damage in. I don't think we need to throw the vampire out quite yet. Okay, that's kind of fine. We did what we wanted to do with it, so that's cool. It's not great, but it's not the end of the world. Let's go ahead and attack in. They are down to 8. So we are getting there. We'll see what they actually do. So What did they throw out? Tainted Indulgence. Okay, so they do spend 2 mana to play the Tainted Indulgence. What's nice about this is that probably means they're not reanimating this turn. And so we might be okay. Next turn is going to be different, I would imagine. But we'll see. Land actually is pretty good. I'm very happy with that. Let's do this first. I'm gonna try this. I wish we could play that, but that's okay. All right, we'll go ahead and play the Epicure here for obvious reasons. Deal a damage. Let's see. So we can attack here and then make it so that can't block. That's helpful. So now, based on Chandra activations, we might just be able to win that route. Because we are just down to 2. Also worth noting, if we just get like a good burn spell, they did get a Jin-Gitaxias in the yard though, which is terrifying. But Tainted Indulgence, again, a good sign, because that just means they may not have a reanimation spell. Now, a play pattern they could very easily have is to attack with the Shaman, but it looks like that's not going to be the case. While they may attack, they probably are not going to have another option here. Excellent. So we literally just get to to plus up, and we win. There we go. We are 2 for 2, guys. That was a little bit closer, in my opinion, a little bit trickier. We didn't lose any life, but that was definitely a scarier matchup. That being said, we did it. So let's jump into game 3. All right, guys, here we are for game number 3. And again, this is a perfectly reasonable keep. We do need a couple extra lands here at some point, but we actually have a pretty good abundance of 2-drops here that should keep us in the game. Having double Lightning Strike is never a bad thing, in my opinion. We will go ahead and play the Etching first. Again, this is probably just the best turn 1 play. If we do draw an Adversary as an example, we can start getting in for a lot of extra damage. Just feels like the best thing we can do. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think we just go Radha's Firebrand here. I don't think we have to overthink it. This looks like a Dimir control list, perhaps, or something like that, so I do anticipate they'll have a way to deal with this. It might just be another Reanimator deck. What's nice is Radha's Firebrand, now that it has the +1/+1, does get out and around the cut down, because obviously that's 6, not 5. So we actually are kind of in a good place there. To be able to keep attacking in, even if they play some scary stuff. I don't love the fact that they got a Caretaker, because it does have Hexproof, which is definitely terrifying, but we'll do the best we can. Definitely just going to go Reckless Stormseeker, get all the heavy mana plays out of the way, so that way we're getting in for max damage. We've got as many threats as possible out at the moment. We can Falkenrath Pit Fighter next turn, and then Hammerhead if we'd like, or Hammerhand, not Hammerhead. Alternatively, I mean, we are getting close to the situation of just being able to Lightning Strike a couple times and win. And that's kind of a nice place to be. So we'll see what the opponent's actually up to here. There's 2 Titans that they get in the graveyard. That's very good. All right, so I think, just win. I'm being a little overly aggressive here, but it doesn't matter. Yep, there we go. We're 3 for 3, guys. Let's go for one more quick game. I don't want to overdo this because we're kind of kicking butt here, but it is just Mono Red. There's not a ton that we can really talk about, so we'll do one more really quick, and we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, here we are for our 4th game, and unfortunately, this is a situation where I do think we have to mulligan. If we had any other land, I would definitely change my tune there, but unfortunately, we just can't. I will keep this. We'll throw one of the Epicures back, just because we've got such a beautiful curve here. We really don't care to have 2 of those, I don't believe. This is not the best start, though, so obviously, you know, we are going to have to deal with that, but let's go ahead and attack in. We'll go ahead and play the Firebrand. And next turn, we do have Chandra, which can help us kind of draw out of some stuff here, so that is very, very helpful. All right. So I think we just play Chandra plus up. We'll do that, sure. I think I will go ahead and do this. just to utilize that mana and dig a little bit deeper. Do we want to sacrifice this? I actually think no. So it does have to be target creature defending player controls with power less than the Firebrand. So that isn't a situation where we can just freely attack in. They did have to take 2 to actually make that happen. So that was interesting. Awesome. All right, so we'll definitely do this. Do we Lightning Strike here? I don't think so. We've got another Chandra, so truthfully, like, the more they go for this Chandra, the less we have to worry about our own life total. And I'd rather not waste this Lightning Strike knowing that we're getting them close to, you know, kind of a low life total here. So I think this is perfectly reasonable. Let them kill that. That's fine. We've got another one. Excellent. All right, we'll do this. We will plus up. Oops, that was actually a huge mistake. I meant to utilize that mana to kill either the underdog or just attack their life total. So that was actually just a mistake, completely my fault. But again, we are still saving quite a bit on our life total here, so this is interesting. Okay, cool. Land is not very exciting. We'll plus up this route so we can potentially... Oh, was that just a land? Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Wondering if we should just wait whenever you sacrifice a creature. Yeah, I'm gonna wait. I do think we kind of want to hold on to this Chandra. Maybe I'm wrong. This is definitely going to be the closest game that we have seen. All right, do we... Chandra feels very important for a multitude of reasons, but chief among which, she's our only way of like drawing cards at the moment. I say drawing cards, but quote unquote drawing cards. You know what I mean? We should have blocked first. That was kind of silly. All right. And all right. I am holding on to it. So worth noting again, guys, part of the activation cost of a lot of our draw is to also discard. Really important for us to keep that in mind as we go through here. Now though, changes things. Let's see. So we've only got 1, but this does then become a 4/4 auto pay, or excuse me, a 3. All right, so we'll go ahead and kill the war chief. Unfortunately, that gives them a rhino, though. That's the problem. Yeah, I think we needed to kill the war chief, but it's just unfortunate that they also then get the 4/4 out of the deal. I don't think we block. Sure. The fact that they gained some life off of that too is very tricky. Okay. Pit Fighter, huh? I mean, we definitely just play it out. I don't really see a reason not to, but this is certainly not ideal. What we will hopefully be able to do is draw off of the Pit Fighter, which could dig us into some more important things here. So we do kind of have to keep that going. Okay. Sure. Ooh, I think we just burnt out, guys. I hate it because this was an undefeated run up until now. I'm wishing I didn't record this one, but no, it's fine. I wish we could have gotten a little bit further in. So we can go for this for 3. I think we do, even though it's not really going to pan out very well for us. Now, do we attack in? I think no. So technically they can have lethal this turn. Ooh, Titan is scary. Okay. And they gain 5. Yeah, I think we're just done, sadly. So this is exactly 7. I think I'll take 7. All right. Yeah, I have to good game him, unfortunately. That's it, guys. We are going to call that done. I hate that we not ruined, we just didn't get 4 undefeated games. That sucks. But 3 was pretty good. Let's go ahead and talk this through. All right, guys, so Mono Red Aggro, I think sitting in a pretty good place right now. Now, keeping in mind, this is the beginning of the meta shift, and so things will be changing pretty drastically over the next few weeks. I don't anticipate this staying near the top or anything like that, but it is a very good deck. In the sense that it has some amazingly aggressive play patterns, and as we saw in game 1, by turn 3, we had won the game. Granted, they conceded, but we were 1 turn away regardless. And so I think Mono Red Aggro has a lot more tools now to do a lot more damage a lot faster. So definitely, if you're a Mono Red player, I think you are in a pretty happy place right now. I would encourage everybody to play around with this deck a little bit. Mono Red Aggro, notoriously, you can play with some of the flex spots, things like that. But all in all, phenomenal deck. Really enjoyed it despite not being a Mono Red player. So if you did, thank you so much for watching. Please like, please comment down below. Don't forget we've got our Dominaria United giveaway going on right now until September 16th. I love you guys very much. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys again soon.